Hello,
Mhm.
everyone. Today I'm going to quickly show you this new experimental module I'm working on, and in the meantime, talk a little bit about vibe coding. So, yeah, this is you're going to hear a lot today in the other talks, all about what is actually happening right now, and this is a glimpse of the future, although it's going well enough that it might be quite the near future. So, we have this Claude Agent SDK. Now, there's a few things about our AI agents that aren't quite where we'd want them to be. Um, we don't have really great stuff for long-term memory or compaction. It's quite complicated to do long-running agents with Drupal, although we are working on that, especially with PHP itself. It's not really built for that compared to like Node, for example. And so and I've been using Claude Code a lot. And one of the things I found is Claude Code is so good that actually, even when I'm doing stuff that isn't about code, but about managing content or checking for things like, I don't know, brand guidelines. I did a research project recently for someone where it was like an ongoing thing where they've built a model of how to handle regulation. And they read through loads and loads of reports that post online from auditors to try and figure out if their model is a good way of, if you answer these questions well, you'll likely get a good score. And they've been doing that through reading, through training people, but we've been exploring using AI to at least help this process. And I found Claude Code was amazing at it. But I started with Claude Code and just MD files on a file system. Very quickly, I still wanted Drupal. Having Drupal as our UI for interacting with the content, with the context, with the tasks, Claude Code would run in the background to do things and push it back to Drupal. So I thought, okay, can we get our agents more like Drupal? And I've heard from Symfony they've done that. This experiment I'm about to talk about now, where what I was going to do was take something like OpenCode as an open source version, where we can see everything. Take Symfony AI, Drupal AI, put it all in a repo or in a folder, and you just get AI like Codex or something to just go through everything and figure out what's missing and just build everything in Drupal. We started there, but then I thought, actually, what we could do is just use Claude Code itself, and there is this thing called the Claude Agent SDK. So you can see here, it used to be called the Claude Code SDK, and I personally think it's confusingly named Agent SDK. But what this is an SDK in TypeScript or Python that actually directly connects. It connects to a Claude Code runtime. So you'll build your tool that can do anything. It can store tasks or whatever. Have UIs. You click a button, and it'll actually run commands in the command line to the little terminal CLI tool. Run those things and give a response. But it means that you can then use everything that you're used to with Claude Code, all of its skills, tools, MCP, long-running functions, compacting, etc. I probably should have started with the TypeScript SDK, but what I did is I created a Python SDK. No, sorry, I took the Python SDK and I put it in a folder, and I thought, okay, let's go and make a PHP version. So you can see this here, and this is a pretty much copy of the Python version, although I think we might want to look at the TypeScript one again. And I've just ported sort of everything, and then tried to see if it will just work. So then what we did is we created this module. And as I said, it's very, very experimental. So we can show you a little bit about how exactly this works and what it does. And I said very experimental. I've got instructions here. So at the moment, you know, you have to do a git clone. You go into your web folder. No, you go into your folder. So outside of web, and you make a folder called modules. Git clone this into it, and then run this script in bash. And then there's one for if you want it in live mode. We're hoping to have it nicely with ddev. But what this will do is it'll do everything for you. It will install the module, but it'll also install the library. And if you're using ddev, it will install Claude Code inside ddev, which is a little bit safer, but also means everything's there. You don't have to worry about how this interacts with Claude Code if you're running it yourself. The instructions are all a mess because it keeps changing. And this is, again, don't use this live. So what you will have is, if I go to AI, Claude Agent SDK, you can see there's a settings page. I'm using DDev. I have environmental variable for my API key. Note, this has to use an API key. You're not allowed to use your subscription for this. We'd obviously love that, but you can't. I've got max concurrent processors. In the early days, I had it for unlimited, and the whole site just white screened. And yeah, it's got this workspace here. Then if I click debug, this is where we can start playing with it. So let me show you something. I've got session exchange query. I'm going to ask a question. What files can you see? I'm just going to disable this for now so you can see. This UI obviously needs to be improved. I click send. And whilst I'm recording this video, I'm going to be also vibe coding. So the other thing that I was going to talk about is vibe coding options. So let me just turn this on now. I don't think I'll have loads of time today to go into all the different. I was thinking for this talk to go through the different options I have. Like I use all of them now, so I'm using anti-gravity, codecs, etc. But this is this thing here, which is codecs app. So it's like the codecs CLI tool, but I'm just loving this app. It's also a lot cheaper for some reason. So it seems like I've had friends who have whatever their normal subscription was, they were able to run 6 agents concurrently at the same time, and everything was kind of just working. And so whilst we're doing this, I'm going to be vibe coding some improvements that you're going to see here. So I go, what files can you see? Now it's come up with a session ID. And there you go. I'll check what files I can see. So it's actually, when I first did this, it was not in this workspace thing. It was in HTML. I could see everything. And that was kind of scary. And you can give it the tools to write, which it doesn't have access to. So it can actually write it to its own code. But there we go. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say something simple, continuous conversation this time. Resume session ID is not there. So it's going to start a new session. I'm going to say, I like eating oranges. And I will now click submit, send to SDK. And you can see now, you can see it's got a session ID that's attached. I've done continuous conversation, so it's automatically filled in the session ID. And you can see that they're happy that, they're delicious, refreshing, packed with vitamin C. So now I can go back to this and go, what kind of food do I like? And it's going to be using Claude Code again to answer this question. So let's see if it works. Yeah, sorry, it goes up. Basically, you just told me you like eating oranges. So we've got it kind of working. Now, what you can see is these sessions in this processes tab. You can see these sessions that we've made through the form. So this is the one that is able to be resumed. So I can click view, and I can now see this Claude Code session. And I mean, there's a lot I can do to make this better. This UI is not perfect yet, but you can see the session of what's happened. But this is, I mean, we could do this in Drupal. This is just normal call and response. Why is this cool? Well, let's go to the next stage. And whilst I'm doing that, I will go back to my codecs and get things going again to see if we can get it to this next cooler stage. So, okay, so now what I've done is there's 2 versions of this. If you look in the Agent SDK, I don't fully understand it yet, but there's 2 different modes. There's the query mode, and then there's Claude SDK client that allows streaming. And so the query mode is going to work really nicely with simple Drupal because it just sends a request, gets a response. So it's going to work perfectly with PHP. This one allows you to do continuous conversations and more like streaming. But we do have it working. And this is vibe coded. So I don't fully understand exactly how yet. I think I did point it to Symfony and Symfony Messenger. But if we go to this terminal thing, I'm going to show the logs. We're going to do the same thing again. Not going to resume the thing, and I'm going to say, what files can you see? And can you tell me what this project is like? What software it's using? And why it's cool. Well, this is a problem with doing a live. This was working before. So I'm going to try and show you, I suppose my process is, I had it working just a few minutes ago. So the process is, so I'm going to go back to Codex. I think it's because I'm in the middle of building other things. But only a few minutes previous to this, and I'll record another video. I can get it working. You will actually see that it was like doing the kind of Claude Code thing of like asking a question, thinking about it, and streaming a response to you. So I'm going to show you my process. So we go to Codex. Okay, I'm resuming. It's a bit all over the place whilst Codex does stuff in the background. See if I can show you the terminal thing, and I'll talk about the vision for that. But whilst I do that, I thought I'd just move to another area of using Claude Code that is crazily exciting. So what we have always wanted is, like, we called it Figma to Drupal for a while, and then it was a screenshot and design to Drupal, and it was WordPress to Drupal. And we're basically there. We've actually made a tool. It works. We can point at a WordPress site, and it can bring it in to Drupal CMS, into Canvas, and to Acquia Source. Yeah, we had an enterprise client pay us to do this. We're going into UAT with it this next week. We're going to be live by the end of the month, we think. It's because it's working pretty well. Now, I can't talk about too much of that yet, but I can give you a little glimmer of what's happening with this. A friend of mine he felt like we need to really focus have a free to give AI website. And then it's going to be easier for him to send us work because, we just, so I know some people who are looking for AI specialists. And at the moment, our website is very much focused on being a Drupal agency. And although we talk about AI quite a lot there, we want to try and talk about something where we'll still mention Drupal, but we're focusing on the fact that we can do AI transformation and all the automation that we're doing, things like Claude Code. And I was going to build this site myself, but then I sent it to Katya, who is one of our project managers. She does have a computer science degree, but hasn't done any code for a while. And within a couple of days, she found some random tool online. I need to find out what it was. But she kind of vibed a design, and she got these. And all it was is it gave her some screenshots and some pure HTML. This is not, a particularly like advanced system, but we looked at it, and these designs were like, this is nice. I'm pretty happy with these things. It's made a new logo. It's got some text, etc. And yeah, this is kind of okay. So the tool we built is very similar to a tool that has been recently released by Acquia called Nebula. And what it does is it will take something as an input and then first use AI to convert things into Storybooks components. But it's not just any Storybooks components. We are particularly targeting components that will be compatible with the libraries that come with Canvas, that are available in Canvas. And we've gone freely give. Our tool's gone in a little bit different way. We've really linked it to Claude Code and using Claude Code inside DDev, making it so that setup's really easy. And they've gone an approach where it's more agnostic. So they have this thing called Ruler and skills.sh, which is really cool. I'll just show you skills.sh. Skills.sh is really nice. So you can, let's say I've got this one here, web design skills. You put this in your terminal, and it's got this nice little creating tool that allows you to tell this interface which particular things you use. Is it Claude Code, Gemini, Anti-Gravity, Cursor, Codex, etc.? And it will store that skill for all of them. So it's really cool. That's what they're moving towards. And we're going to want to move towards that. We made ours very focused on Claude Code and the skills that are to do with Claude Code. And then we've got a few other things that are coming, which I'll talk a bit about. So the first step was it would take those designs, the screenshots and the HTML, and turn them into canvas. And then this is what it did. So here's an example of a header, and then this is the homepage. And what we've done is we've got these skills that use Playwright MCP, although we're moving to Playwright CLI because it's going to be a lot better, but only came out recently. And it means that Claude Code can like build the thing and check it, and then build it again and check it. So it can constantly like take screenshots and actually see it. There's a lot that's happening to make this even easier for AI. But once we've built it, the final step is you need to now move it into Canvas. And so with our tooling, which again, we're going to work with Acquia and put a lot of this in Nebula, we also created a lot of testing. They have some like linting tests, but we created a lot more visual regression tests so it can compare to the other one with this like, using Playwright all the time. We've got some accessibility tests that it does. And because it's and I've also written the tasks. So what are these steps? I've written them as MD files. So Claude Code has something consistent to follow. And what it meant was I could just throw it in using Claude Code in that environment you saw, and it built it. And so this is what we have in Drupal CMS, and we've got a dev version of this site soon, but we're going to go live with it. But yeah, this is now the site in Canvas. You can see it's got all these pages, etc. There's an About Us page. Still need to test the Contact Us page working, but this is all Canvas. So if I click Edit here, you can see this can now be edited in Drupal through the UI. I think this is really powerful. I think it's going to change everything. So for example, here, click there, and I could change things on the fly. The other thing that I found really powerful is I had a couple of like brand styles that I wanted to aim for. So I tend to talk a lot and write a lot. So I wrote loads and loads of copy for this, but it was very, very verbose. What was really nice is I could just feed it into Claude Code, point it at some sites where I liked their tone, and then it would push it through. Yeah, this was crazily powerful. It was so fast. A lot of our times we're trying to get DDev working on a Windows machine. And so this is something I'm quite excited about. And then I think we're going to be able to bring these two together when we start doing the Claude Codex, the Claude Code integration stuff. So I'm just going to pause it again, and I'll be with you in a second whilst I check how the vibe coding is going and if terminal is now working. So we're back. Okay, it just worked a second ago. Let's see if it works again. Vibes. So now we have something that is streaming stuff in. It's doing that classic thing you see in Claude Code of it goes, I can see the files, it's now checking this, then it does this. So with the query one, it would just send something, you'd just get a response. But now it's going back and forth. And this is working. This is all inside Drupal. And it's now giving me an answer. I just think this is absolutely wild. Now, you can see all of these files, all those kind of things. Can you create a file called Hello World? Let's see if it will do this. Don't think it will be allowed to. Or maybe it can. No, it needs your permission. Okay, so I haven't got it so that it can do pop-ups or extreme or permissions, etc. And there's a tool called Write, which it currently doesn't have access to. So this is this thing happening here. But if you see, like, let's go back to the query thing. What this is a prompt and message, but you can see a system prompt here, what model we can use, a session to resume. If I go into advanced options, we can see tools, and we can see fallback models, and we can see active additional directories it's allowed to use. It can see sub-agents, MCPs, plugins, um, and yeah, and those are all there. Now, if we go to the AI agents in Drupal, well, they're not far off this, right? So if we look at a field agent here, well, what is a field agent? It's got a description, it's got the agent instructions, so it's got access to tools. So what I'm thinking we'll be able to do, and I'm going to try, and this is what I mean trying out vibe coding in the background, is I think we can connect it via MCP. So the MCP server module uses a tool API. That means that we can connect directly to the tools, and agents can be tools. So we should be able to use MCP to make Claude Code both behave as one of our agents and just be our agent. So I should be able to have a button on this page where I can click use Claude Code runner instead of our normal runner, and that will be, and then it will start making things. So a lot of this stuff that you saw with creating pages in Drupal, we could have that also happening in Drupal. And I think one of the dreams is orchestrating all of those agents, keeping the context and tasks inside Drupal is actually great. So when I write those tasks, having them all in MD files isn't as nice as having a UI like the FlowDrop UI to have, the task here, here, here. There is Crew AI. So if I sign in here, Crew AI is one of the few visual builders that I think is very much like truly agentic. A lot of the visual builders are more like ECA, N8N, or Active Pieces, where it does one thing, then the other, then the other. It's very set in stone. So if I go to this thing here, you can then see a flow. And compared to other flows where each node is very complicated, these flows, it's got this builder to help you build these things. You can see you've got tasks and you've got agents and you've got all these tools. But what is a task? Well, a task is just a description and the expected output and a title. So it's very clearly like you can just have you can build your flow where it's just in human normal language, do this, then this, then this. And then the tasks attach to these agents here. So I've got trend agent that has got this Serpa dev tool. This one can do stuff with Google Calendar. And so we can have something like this in Drupal with FlowDrop UI, where you can build up this flow, and then you can run it. You can have a trigger here. It can with filled widget actions. We can have it so it's button on the content page, on the edit page. There's a lot of ways that we can do this. But these agents, although we save the information about them, the system prompt, like if we look at editing this, what are they? The model, but they are, you go, goals, backstory, essentially the same as system prompts, but they've just made it slightly nicer fields. So we can save all of that in Drupal, use the existing agents we have now, but then just have Claude Code running everything. So I don't know where this is going to go. It's very powerful, but kind of scary. So we can see, if I go into processes, you can see, the processes in real time that are happening now, how much CPU and memory they're using. We can kill those. I probably should make it so you can kill each individual one, and that they close after a period of time or something. So there's a lot of stuff that we need to do here. Like I said, we can go through and see the sessions and delete them. There's going to be loads of permissions, stuff related there. So this is where I think things might be going. I'm reaching out to the Symfony AI people because although we're working on Symfony AI and making the AI agent framework better there, I also wonder if this will be a feature of something we want to do in that world, because there's so many of them now. And there's open source ones, like I said, like OpenCode. That in the past, I was not that keen on using the other systems. I thought they all sucked. Everyone kind of thought, why would Drupal be better than LangChain or OpenAI? But when you actually used the OpenAI Swarm API, it was terrible. If you looked at the OpenAI Agent SDK, it's not that much better than what we've got. But when Claude Code hit, and then the Claude Agent SDK hit, it's like, okay, this is good now. It's going to take a while for us to compete with that, and Claude Code is getting better and better and better all the time. So like being able to make use of skills would be amazing. Being able to make use of some of the same skills that everyone is using in Claude Code, but inside Drupal amazing. There's a lot of stuff that we want to do, and so this is a little taste of the future. So yeah, I'll show off like our Freely Give site. This is about to come out, Freely Give AI. And so if you want to contact us with help with migrations or transforming your company, feel free to. But there's a lot of people here that are doing amazing stuff, bringing some of this cool stuff to the Drupal AI framework as well. So yeah, thank you.
Bene, bene. Anche qua sicuramente un talk pieno di spunti. Un peccato non aver avuto Jamie per la parte di domande, per interagire un po', perché ovviamente è un'implementazione molto interessante. Bene, prima di iniziare col Q&A, appunto, ricordiamo velocemente gli eventi Drupal che ci saranno quest'anno in Europa. E ricordiamo anche che lunedì aprono le iscrizioni per il Drupal Camp Italy, l'evento Drupal che SparkFabrik aiuta a organizzare, e quindi il 22 ottobre Bologna. Attraverso il QR arriverete sulla landing e sono aperti appunto gli sponsor, i ticket e la call for papers.